Ooh, Lord.
Good.
Or Marvy. I don't know what that is.
We
We
live.
are live, goddesses. Good morning. Happy
Morning.
self-love Saturday.
Yes, it is self-love. Yep.
It is
All
self-love.
self-love.
And we need some love today. It's been a rough kind of week. It's just been rough. That's all
You
I'm gonna
want my
say. It's been
snow,
rough.
my ice?
Is Mercury out of retrograde yet? That's all I want to know.
We'll
Same
have to
old thing.
look it up. I don't think so. I don't think so.
Because it feels like it is. It's still on. It's
It's
just
still all right. Exactly.
That
Exactly.
222 got you. That 22222
That
got you
two
from
two two was
what
like a
is
two
that two
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 two.
two?
Yes, every direction you got hit. All right, let's do
Yeah.
this. Let's do this thing proper, like
all
y'all. How
right.
about a little
Oh,
intro?
we got another one coming up. 222.
Oh,
Right. Woo.
hello.
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 It's us.
We back again. Hey, so welcome to Me Moments in the Morning. Woo! One of
Mm.
those mornings when you just kind of struggling to move, you're struggling to do, it feel like that kind of morning. But we gonna shake it
It could
off.
be a cartoon right now.
Shake it off. I could be a cartoon right now.
I can be one. Just slither off it.
Oh, right. The one
Sleepwalking
that
off.
slide down the chair and onto the floor.
Yeah.
Yes, I
But it's
get
good. We're
that.
gonna boost that energy back.
I get that.
Yeah.
All right. So I do want us to talk today about light skin, dark skin, but I want to do it like in a little bit of a different way because I don't know about y'all. I don't know about y'all. Wait, first of all, today's episode is You Got the Look.
The
No
look.
Prince fans in the house, right? All right. Well, the song is You Got the Look. You got the look. And I think we all have the look, right? Look at these beautiful complexions up here. All different, all beautiful. We need to love from that space, right?
Mm.
And there's so many different complexions in my own little family. My daughters, I have two daughters, a son, my two grandsons. Like, we're just different, but we're all beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to talk about that a little bit and how we can kind of step out of that space because I know for me, we've been in that space before. I have been in that space where, you get like all of these different looks and people saying just different things, right? And which is something that I don't know, it drives me insane. And it's something that I don't love because I wish I had a picture. That's what I should have put up, a picture of my family so you can see the differences in color, right? I don't always like being in that space where any one of us is made to feel less than because we're lighter in skin or darker in skin. And being this complexion, I've had it from both ways. Oh, I don't talk to light skinned people. I don't normally talk to light skinned people, but you cool. What does that mean? Stop that.
Mm.
So, yeah, how do
Yeah.
we learn to love who we are, where we come from, the different varieties of skin color when it hasn't always been that way for us? And this too, the whole pitting us against each other is part of the conditioning that we speak of often.
Often, yeah. I think I was telling you, I think I saw something, Essence or one of those magazine had it. And I think that's one of the reasons I purposely have certain images around me in terms of really thinking about globally. I think it's not even a US and all this stuff. I think it's a
Mhm.
global
It is a
issue.
global issue.
But then
Hmm.
when you grew up around seeing us in different ways, and we really don't, you think we come one way until you travel out of your own backyard and you're just like, wow. And it's great that we already did the hair because you see the eyes, you see the hair, and it goes also with the color that I know you and Mountain Spirit are working on. I was watching this thing where it was just like, why do we look good in, right? And the person had like so many colors. And she's like, everything, everything, right? So I thought it was amazing because some people are so limited. And I think we also adapt their view of us. And I think that's the toughest thing because I grew up around people who 100% or 99% look like me from every space you go to. And so I'm like, I'm not, what am I comparing to? Comparing to myself? Like, and then you go somewhere else and all of a sudden you become the other. And I think that's when it becomes hard. And even like the art in my space or like my people or everything you see just reflects me and my culture. And I think sometimes you have to do that work because when you turn on the TV, you're not gonna see you. When you look at the billboard or the magazine, it's not gonna be you. So I knew from the beginning I had to have those beautiful images that reminds me that I am, for us it's like black and beautiful. And you have that in the songs too with the
Hmm.
music. And so you have to hear it, you have to see it, you have to also feel it, and it
Yeah.
has to be in your sacred space where and then I don't need them to tell me. They will never see us as beautiful ever because the goal is for you to not to feel good. And that's why you have so many, like when you look at the mainstream culture, they will always present things for you to fix something. There's something on your
True.
face. There's
Fix
something
that,
that's
girl.
like, right. So it's for us to know we already started out beautiful. Nothing needs to be fixed, right? Nothing. So it's great to start there and affirm that and reaffirm that as we grow up because you're going to continue to be faced with people's insecurities who don't feel beautiful.
True.
And people will remind them and say it, and they're waiting to get that from other people. And that's why we talk so much in this space about that doing that inner work and going within so much because the external force will never give you your whole self. So again, the idea is just knowing who you are and knowing you are beautiful. So good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
So I hope you all will be adding in the comments. I see Val join us. Any thought,
Hey,
Mountain
Val.
Point?
Hi, hey there.
Hello.
Yeah, I like that. The one thing that I will say is I know that I always search to see us represented in spaces of television and film. In fact, we would make an event about it. It would be like, oh, this person is guest starring on the Love Boat. We're talking a long time ago.
Mm,
And we'll
what's
watch
that?
it for Leslie Uggams. I don't know if you all know who that actress is.
I like Leslie.
Right. We will watch it for Diane Carroll. Diane Carroll was going to guest star. I started watching Dynasty because Billy D. Williams and Diane Carroll was in that
Mm.
space.
We're going
So
way back now, Val.
I'm going way
Some
back.
people may
I'm
not know
going
what those shows are.
exactly.
Well, they
All
had
my
the look.
children.
They had the
Right.
look.
All my
They
children
had
was
the
one
look.
of the. All my children was one of the few soaps that highlighted Debbie Morgan and Darnell Williams. They
Right.
played Jesse and Angie. And so
Ooh.
they're the ones that, to me, when I go back like that, they establish where we do have an entirely black cast. And one thing that I will call out, and Diane Carroll, she's one of my favorite actresses. I think she passed away a couple of years back. She kind of schooled the kids on a different world because she came on and played Jasmine Guy's mom, Whitley. And she fussed at, I think, what was it, Daryl Bell and a few other people. And she says, do you realize that there's not only people in front of the camera, there's people behind the camera? Because Debbie Allen was the one that was brought on to kind of to kind of help a different world take a different turn after Lisa Bonet left. But it Debbie and Milson Sheldon and Yvette Denise Lee. These women I know of. They're the ones that fought to be behind the camera to make sure that we're represented in
Yeah.
in spaces of television and film. To say no, we're not just the slave, we're not just the cook, or we're not just the help. No, we're college educated. We are working and we date and we have relationships. So that's why girlfriends could happen. That's why um, uh, Grand Crew could happen. That's why these other shows that have come along, Abbott Elementary, which is a wonderful show. I don't know if you've seen that. That's currently on ABC. There's a black woman showrunner on that. So just to see representation, it was a fight, and I'm happy that it's there. But we still have to deal with those issues of, what do we look like? I think Spike Lee dealt with it in school days. Kind of had the dark girls against the black, the dark skinned girls, and just good or
Yeah.
bad hair. That was a whole thing. So I'm grateful for art representing that change. As a mountain spirit, when you were growing up, did you see blacks on television?
No, but you're assuming we had a television.
Ah,
We didn't have television, and the first black anything we saw was 3 seconds of Amos and Andy. When my dad came into the room, because he heard what it was, he came into the room and put the tablecloth from the table over the television before he turned it off. He says, you're not watching that. So we didn't really get much exposure. However, the message that we were being portrayed as, a negative aspect of anything, like anything dark was just not okay. But I see something far more sinister happening now,
ah,
where we're being de-blackenized. So you just described it, this beautiful flowing rhythm of how we broke the veil. Our women started coming in, men started coming in, black people started coming in to the face of media, without that derogatory implication. But what's happening now is our color is getting lighter.
mm,
So everywhere black people are being represented, and maybe I notice it more because I'm in an all black country, right? But when I go to the United States, what I'm noticing is that the faces of black women and the faces of black men are now looking very, very beyond light skin, to the point where you can't, what they call the Obama factor, right? That um,
brown paper bag.
something like that. Yeah,
Mm,
yeah. But the thing is that black face, what we know as, the symbolic of African descent face, is becoming lighter and lighter and lighter. And I don't know if anybody else notices that, but the look is not becoming this, with the curly hair, with the, that, all of that.
I think it's always been there, and it's going to be there because unfortunately the people that are responsible for hiring black actors sometimes will go in that direction of lighter, and I've noticed that. But I will definitely defend Viola Davis. Took her a long time
Oh,
to get
yeah.
work. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, took her a long time to get work. And when she would show up, she did a film with Meryl Streep. She literally was on the screen for 10 minutes. She made such an impact that her thing started to just, blow up for her. And she is on the darker hue. She's an
Yeah.
excellent actress.
Yeah, she is.
But if you compare her to, like, say, a Kerry Washington or some other actresses, they're of lighter hue. One thing that I hate is that on the reality shows, which to me has replaced soap operas, which I really can't stand, is that I see that happening, and then that's reflected in Instagram, where people are coming up, they're having plastic surgery to have bigger butts, and then do things
Lighter
with
skin.
alternate their faces, and then
Yeah.
they're sometimes doing the Botox, and it's like, you don't like the way you were made. You want
Yeah.
to
But it's
put
yeah.
things in your body, a silicone. It doesn't make sense, and I feel like that's a self depreciating hate. You're looking at a Kim Kardashian who is not real, and I'm not necessarily throwing her under the bus, but it's like you're looking at this person or someone else saying, I want to look like that. I think that's the ideal of beauty, and it isn't. You need to go back to you can't compare yourself to the European model of what beauty is.
Yeah. But
You have
that's
to go back.
What about
Yeah, go ahead.
the skin bleaching,
The
Skin
skin, that's what
bleaching,
I was gonna
yes.
say.
which
People
I
are
think
bleaching
it's
their
being
skin.
supported, yeah, by that light skinnedness,
Yeah.
well, that's why
and
it's global. It's a
yeah, it
global
is
issue
global, yeah.
because it's going on somewhere else. But also, I mean, it doesn't happen as an adult. So that's why even for us, like, we can talk about these are the spaces, but it's also in real life that people are seeing it. Like before you can even look at the screen and look at the celebrities who are doing what they're doing, because that's, again, we have to go back to that system we talk about. That's like a class issue. That's a race issue. That's a,
Mm,
privilege, and it's a particular group of people. So in a way, people are being conditioned thinking like, ooh, look at them fighting. But certain groups are chosen. But when you're looking at a school in a home, like there are times kids are treated differently, as you know, because they happen to be different and they feel like they're treated differently and they
Yeah.
don't know why the parents or whoever is treating them differently. And sometimes they're like, why am I this way? And they're asking questions, or if it's a blended family, or if it's a different things, or even that the hair thing comes up because they're like, okay, how come yours come out this way? I remember once my son called me orange. I was just like, I am not orange. And he's like, how come you are? I don't know what was going on at that time. But you know, when they're small, they just they don't think, we think in binary terms still. And even for us, they don't think in black and white. So they do see shades and hues between us. So in that moment, I was orange. He was just like,
Orange.
he's like, and I'm not orange. And I'm like, okay. But it starts so early because we see
Yeah.
what they get exposed to, but we
Mhm.
also don't have the conversation. We think it's just like, it's like whatever it is. But they also don't see people the way we see people. There are certain things we do where they're like, they don't get it because they just see their little friend. Like a lot of the things we do when it comes to race and color and all this stuff, they're just like, it makes no sense to them. And we don't want to literally program them to see color in ways and to treat people unfairly. But when they start out, and that's why I think in our society, because of what's going on, critical thinking skill and media literacy is necessary.
Very necessary.
Even for adults who are like, this doesn't affect me. I don't feel like I need to change anything about me because blah blah blah. And then even how you feel about yourself when you look and you're comparing, you're looking at your nose, and we see that even people where you're like, again, you came out beautiful, and we're looking at them, we're like, what?
Yeah.
You want to change this
Why?
piece of art?
Mhm.
This is, and they don't see it. And so part of it, again, it has to start from the beginning in terms of not letting that taint it, but it takes work. It takes decolonizing our mind and that gaze,
Ah.
because we're looking at somebody else who's telling us who we are. And again, we have to go
Yes.
back in time to where that started at the plantation, and it continues through times, right? But also we shift that, Tracy's favorite. We shift the whole thing, because now we get to create those images, right? We get to have our own people, and don't we create the mainstream? So now we
Mhm.
get to show different people, we get to tell the stories, we get to tell them in terms of how we felt and where we at. And
Yeah.
sometimes it take a long time, like we talk about Viola Davis, like you don't have to be her shade to even appreciate the permission she gives you to see yourself as beautiful.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Because the thing is, they see all of us as not beautiful. So there's always going to be a reason to pick us apart, but it's for us to reclaim our natural beauty, whatever that may mean to you.
Well, if you like yourself, it doesn't matter who likes you or doesn't like you. Um, so the bottom line is to like yourself. Um, and that's what's going to prevail, because you take yourself everywhere that you go.
Yeah.
So whether Hollywood recognizes you or not, for personally, I just think it's just a little bit dangerous. It's a good way to make a point, but it's a little bit dangerous to use Hollywood as
As the ideal. As
right. Thank you,
Oh,
yeah.
Tracy.
I don't want to make it the ideal. I just want to know that that is something that we look at, and in my area, that's what I looked at. And
I know.
Gracie, don't
I'm
most famously,
honoring
didn't?
that. I'm honoring
Yeah.
that in what
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
saying.
Oh, okay.
I'm respecting you and what you said, and I'm honoring what you said in the way you said it.
Hmm.
And I accept that, because it is a truth. And in that truth, I am saying, I think it's just a little bit risky
It
to
is.
hang the full definition with that aspect. I think that, yeah, that is one aspect. Um, but it boils down to, what if there was no Viola, if there was no Hollywood, if there was no Amos and Andy, and there was no television, and it was just us, we still have to like us, because this
We still.
self-hatred, Marie, existed before television.
Yes.
It
Mhm. It
existed
did.
before all of that. So the illness just came along, and
Right.
Hollywood and the media, and I mean, they're just coping and feeding it and making it work for them. I'm thinking, I'm sitting here, okay, we're solution oriented folk here. How do we make it work for us? How do we make this setup work for us? For we? For one, I want to say, and I don't know who pointed it out earlier, looking at the four faces here, this is one way. Present an environment where there's faces. We didn't just get out of jail. We don't have a rags to riches story. We don't have we're not poster child welfare mothers. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I've been a beneficiary myself. So,
Right?
but to show Black women like this and Black people like this and talk about us like this, I think this is the waging war on that narrative.
Okay.
You know, that we need this, the external stimuli, the external influence, the external approval, and to change the past. We don't have to change the past. We just have to love ourselves right now, which should be easy to do because this is something we have complete control over. We talk about a lot of solutions and a lot of them, and I hear it and it's beautiful, but they all depend on somebody else. Even if 90% of it is what you can do, there's still that 10% that somebody else has to do. So I like to look at solutions where we have all the pieces in our hands. What we think about ourselves, what we say to each other,
Yes.
complete control over that. So we can start there, and I think this is it here.
Yes.
It's a beautiful start.
I agree.
I
I
love
love
this start.
that. And wait, can I say that I love that you actually brought it up as an illness. It is an illness.
Mm-hmm.
Us not loving who we are, what we look like collectively. I also like the fact that Marie, you were talking about your culture and how you have integrated, like your culture is everything. It's within you. It's who you are. Uh, I also want to bring up though that I love my culture, but I love us as a people, right? When I was in Belize, period, right? Period. As a people, we are one people. We are. And even when I go to places like Belize or even certain parts of this country, it's like, oh no, this is where the Creole are. This is where they are. This is where they are. No, we are still Black. We are still, we are still one people, and we've got to learn to love those parts and pieces. I love that we're different. I love learning about Marie's culture. I love learning about the different cultures throughout Belize. I'm all in it. Like, hey, we Black girls, we all together. And you see some over here like, that American girl. Yeah, I might be American girl, but I'm Black first. Thank you.
That's me. That's
Yes.
me.
And we love to hear this. Somebody really got angry with us because we love to hear stories about the Jim Crow South. And when Black Americans come, and they don't like us saying Black Americans, but we think there's nothing insulting about being Black and an American. That's good.
I'm not insulted by that.
That's good. No, I'm talking out there.
Oh, you
Out there.
Out there.
Him out there. Him out there we talking about.
Yeah, we love hearing stories about the Jim Crow South. It was like, and then it's like campfire.
Campfire stories.
Yeah, these stories.
and then one time at band camp.
Yes, we didn't see any of that. And you picked cotton, really? I mean, it was. It's just what we're learning about each other.
Right.
Yeah.
And then we tell you about all the white people that we killed and how we rebelled and took down the ship. That we exchange stories.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's how we learn to love one another and appreciate one another's journey.
Yeah, and I didn't you say, and what Mountain Spirit is saying that we need to be solution oriented. So, isn't that a nowism or affirmation to own it, to dethrone it?
Own it to dethrone it. Yes.
Indeed.
Bullshit that they have told us we are, all of the bullshit that they have given us and fed us in here.
You just brought the ingredient out, one of the ingredients.
That's right. So, own it to dethrone it, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because then once we dethrone it, then we sit upon that throne. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you for bringing that up, Val.
Yeah, that's a good one. I think at the core of it is who you are, right? We're saying like liking you. Before you like you better know who you are, right?
Right.
And so a lot of it is just that learning. And even if you didn't get it early on, so I think a lot of time people Again, we're waiting for them. I don't know who them is. And sometimes we're like, we didn't learn it at school. We didn't learn it here. We learn a lot of things that are just like out of interest, out of fluff or on leisure. If you want to know you will find out, right? Like in terms of whether it's a culture. And some people travel. When I travel, it's like I bring me, but I find us wherever I go,
Mhm.
right? So whether I go to whether it's Costa Rica, whether it's Puerto Rico, whether it's the Bahamas
Wherever
and all the other islands, I can find us
finding me. Mhm.
wherever. I could be in Paris. I'm telling you, there's a neighborhood where you go, you like, this is the one.
Mhm.
Forget the city, forget where the tourists are. I'm staying right here. I am not
Mhm.
going anywhere else. And so I want to find out, and it makes you want to travel more because we're not in one place. And that's why those issues are global. Who we are is global. And it's like
Yeah.
we have to continue sharing those stories and telling them
Hmm.
and documenting them in the ways we want to hear, share them, consume them. We tell it the way we want to, but we need part of that solution is stop waiting for them to tell it. They will never tell it the way we tell it. Show
Right.
us the way we want them to show who we are. And we don't have to wait until a certain age. Like even our young people can do it now based on what they're dealing with, based on what they're sick and tired of seeing and don't want to deal with anymore. That other quote. If you're sick and tired of it, do something.
There you
Show
go.
something, create something. Oh my God,
That's right.
create something. That phone and you have in your hands, create something.
Yeah, create that film, create that documentary series, create
Write it,
the
Tracy.
That's
yeah,
a
own it. Write the book.
That's a
Right.
really good point. That having since you move around, go and visit places where your people are. Places that
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
we spend all this money, right? Visiting places, and our people are right next door, but we won't go see them because we
We
think
won't
it's
go
the
see
same,
them.
but it's different all around.
Yeah.
I mean, they're the same people, but we have come out with these rich cultures and adaptations and beautiful, colorful ways of being that we need to see how we've come out.
Right. And
So
so when they promote those things and tell you to come to Belize, they're not telling you to come to the South where the black folks at, but go to the South so you know where we are.
And go
Yeah.
to places where
And
it's not advertised, right? Go
oh,
to Haiti, go to
yes, all the
Africa, go to
and
the
going on a boat.
other
And
Yeah, I
places.
would I
sell
when
in
I
your cruises, but they take you where they want you to go. They don't
Right.
take you, so when I go to an island, wherever it is, even the Bahamas was beautiful behind the scenes. I'm like, I want to see behind the scenes. Where we from?
yeah.
Where we eat at? What we do over here?
I know
You like the local.
I definitely did that I definitely did that in Jamaica. My mother got on my case because I left the resort. She's like, "Don't leave the resort." But I was treated like a queen, and I loved it. I dancing, the artwork. It was wonderful. Now people kept selling me stuff because they were like, "Don't say anything," They'll hear the American accent. Don't say anything. So, but I, but it was fun. But it was fun just experience Jamaica off the beaten
Off the
path.
beaten
I'm like,
path.
this is
Yeah.
cool.
Every place has a big unbeaten, and look for it because it's not going to be looking for you. Look for it
No,
like in advance, right? And even within the
No, it
US as
finds
well,
you. It finds me
he'll
all the time,
find
but
you.
maybe
But
it's because
within
I
the
put it out
US,
there, and this is what I want.
even
So
within our
not
own,
really, because Tracy, your event was only going to be up north,
that's
away from
true.
us. I had to insist on bringing people here, and it still didn't come. You came after the fact, but this is a group
Okay.
of black. You're talking black event, black people, black money,
Right.
and they
True.
refuse to come to where I am, which is where the black
Yes.
people are. So I
mm,
insist. Yeah, I agree with you, Val and Marie. Look for them.
Look,
yeah.
Look,
mhm.
I
they're
mean,
not just gonna find you.
do it domestically. In a way, it happened
I don't mean
synergy, right?
physically. I meant spiritually. Right.
Right,
I
right,
meant
right, right,
from a spiritual
right. It'll come.
perspective.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree, Tracy, because I think
And go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, no, no. Finish the
I'm
thought. Finish
excited
the
about
thought.
that.
Finish it.
But
No, I
that's
Finish it.
why
want you
we
to
do
talk
the
about spirit.
retreats. Because it's
Yes.
safe. It's a safe way to see your people within
Yeah.
the culture, within the
On the
Mhm.
spirituality,
retreats.
within everything. That's why we have these retreats, so
Absolutely.
that you're
So
not just going cold and alone.
right. So yesterday we talked about the topic was it's the collab for us. That's
Ah,
creating opportunities, legacies. What legacies are we leaving behind? What are our achievements and building our brands? right? And so that's one of the things that I definitely will talk about it again this coming week, because I think that it's very important for us to talk about the retreats that are on the horizon, as well as the different ways that we are collaborating together so that we can start making things like this, the things that we want to happen, happen. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
So that's a
and
solution. That's a
that's a
Yes.
solution.
solution. That's definitely solution
It's a
oriented.
solution. Yeah.
One of. But again,
That's all
yeah.
right. We come together and we come up with more and
But
more.
different people
Absolutely.
have solutions, and that's what I'm saying. For certain things we're doing, let's highlight, because there are other people doing what we're doing, and so a
Hmm.
lot of time we think it's one way, right? Like the show is one way. There are others who are doing it, and part of that is let's make sure that we don't think it's one solution, right? They're like, oh, I'm not going to do anything because, well, they're doing something. I'm like, the other people have so many options, right? Where you turn on and you're
Hmm.
like, thousands of channels. We also deserve thousands of channels to choose what we want to see and what we want to
Exactly.
consume. So we
Hmm.
have to create those things, but also don't forget, locally it's the same thing. So, Tracy knows where I'm like, okay, you coming here. Like, there's a difference between where I live, where I work, and
Right.
where our people are. There's a division between all three. So, but you still have to look where you live sometime if you want the full experience in terms of seeing everyone, because the tour guide are very limited, right? And sometimes the city is at fault because they only promote downtown. Are we
Hmm.
downtown? I don't know. So we have to think about even where you live now, how you experience it now. Some places like New York, Atlanta, and some other parts, you don't have to look harder. You don't have to look hard, but where I am, you got to look for it, even though you're physically here. So even start where you are in terms of looking for that, but creating that little thing you can do in your own way. So spaces is key. You can travel elsewhere, but you can bring that also back, right? And have a piece of that. So you create that experience for us, but share it. Like people go places, they document it in terms of social media, but like capture it in a way that's going to become part of our legacy. People don't think we travel.
No,
It's
no,
just
that
like,
is so not true. That is so not true.
Yeah.
And I, I love traveling. And the one thing that I will say, I'm from Chicago, but I lived in New York and Brooklyn. I feel like the entirety of the Caribbean is represented in some part of New York, Queens, Staten Island.
Yeah.
If I want to hang with my Haitian folks, I know exactly where everybody's at. And I'm talking about in the spaces of New York. And the great thing is that I love that people we would used to do Flag Day, and
mm,
I used to be like, "Oh my gosh, so many different flags. Oh, that's St. Lucia. Oh, I didn't know that was an island. Oh, Bahamas. Oh, it went on and on and on. And I was like, that was amazing to me. I love being exposed to that because that was people representing where they came from. But no, we're here in New York. We're all New Yorkers right now. However, don't get it twisted. I'm from Jamaica. Don't get it. Don't make this assumption that I'm from um, Dominican Republic or Puerto Rican. No, no, no. I'm Ecuadorian. Oh, oh, that's South America. Oh, and I used to love geography, so I'm just like, let me find where you are on the map. And the difference between the Trinidadian and living in Guyana or Guyana, there's a difference. So I love that, and those differences, to hear the stories from people and where they came from and what they survived or what they lived through to get to New York or get to the States, or what they're doing in their own home spaces. Same thing, it's the same comparison of my mother migrating from Arkansas to the north. It's the same thing for a better way of life. And sometimes you come to find out, wasn't that I've tried to run away from racism, but it followed me north. It really did.
Well, they stole our homeland. I mean, what do you expect us to
Exactly.
do? They stole our homeland, then they stole us, and then just dumped us here, try to, use us for work. So we got to keep moving around until we get our
Exactly.
own little lock into
Figure
the
it out.
right, right, yeah.
yeah, it's
We gonna
happening.
figure it out. All
It's
right,
happening.
y'all. Well, thank you for yet another beautiful morning here on Me Moments in the Morning. Thank you all for joining us today. Woo, yeah, I see we're gonna have to continue the conversations, especially about
Oh
how we
man.
can collab? What are our solutions? If you have any, definitely share them with us. We'd love to hear some of your ideas and thoughts. And perhaps we
Hey,
can
Max. I
collaborate on
think this is
something
Max's first time here.
in the future.
Ooh.
It's not her first time here.
She's been here?
She's
First
been
time I'm
all
seeing her. That's my first
over front
time.
and center. Mhm, mhm.
Okay. Good to see you,
All
Max.
right. All
All
right.
right.
Love you
Good
all. See you all over
chat.
in Clubhouse in just a
Let's
minute
go to
here. Thank you again
Clubhouse.
for joining us. Much love. Bye.
Bye.